What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. We're going to be running through our off-season diet plan that I specifically eat myself as a vegetarian bodybuilder. Now, I looked on YouTube a lot of the times and I couldn't find anything that catered to vegetarians eating a vast amount of protein in their diet per day. I could find some vegan ones that were around about 150 to 160 grams of protein, but never looking at 250 to 300 grams of protein across the board of the day. So this is a catered one, especially for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy, and let's get right into the food. So we've been to Aldi today to do a bit of a food shop. Got everything we're going to do, so I'm going to show you all the food we got. So for instance, for meal one, we've got some oats, bread for later on for meal two, I think. Yogurts, cheese, the Aldi version of the choco rice, so Cocoa Pops, bananas, cream of rice, which we buy from Bodybuilder Warehouse, our supplements, corn pieces for our protein, pasta, light mayonnaise, regular bacon potatoes, normal large British eggs. On the side to add up our protein, which is our whey isolate. For later on, we'll have milk and then egg whites as well. Okay, so we'll start off with meal one, which will be 100 grams of oats. So with the oats, we'll obviously boil that in the morning. We'll have that with some 50 grams of our whey isolate. We'll mix that through once it's cooked, and then we'll add a little bit of honey in there, just to get a bit more carbs in there, and that'll pretty much be it for meal one. So meal two will be 4 slices of bread, 50 grams of cheese, and we would normally have like this peri chicken fillet, but they didn't have any in the shop today because the freezer was broken. But we'll kind of just prep it as we would anyway, and just imagine the chicken fillet in the middle of it, but it doesn't really matter. So we'll just have 4 slices of bread. We'll have 50 grams of just some normal cheddar cheese, and then all we do is just literally, it's pretty simple. We'll just add just cheese into the sandwich bread. And then we'd add a little bit, just a light mayonnaise, just like a little squirt. I don't really measure this one, probably should, but we don't use too much. It'd be more like sort of like 10 grams, if that, just to give it so it's not so dry. And then what we would normally do is have like a peri chicken fillet, which we just slice into the middle of there, and then it would just be sandwiches. So for the moment, we'll just leave it like that, and then until we can go back tomorrow or Monday, we'll get that and then cook that in, put it in there. That will be accompanied by a protein yogurt. And that would then be meal number 2. So meal 3 will be cream of rice. Now, I'll have this around about an hour to 2 hours before we kind of train. So cream of rice is pretty much just straight up carbs, and we'd add in 150 grams of cream of rice and then 50 grams of the whey isolate. Keep that cold. We just mix that through, so it's like fine water. Now it's just literally just straight carbs with protein. So the reason why we do that pre-training is to get some just easy digestible carbohydrates in, and then some good protein base in there, so it kind of like fuels us for our training session. But this is just nice and easy to digest, and that's going to be like a high glycogen level going into our training session, rather than eating something like, for me personally, eating like corn, chicken and pasta is quite heavy on the stomach. So going into a training session, I can feel a little bit more sicky from it. So I'd rather have something that's a bit more light and easy to kind of eat going into a training session, and just fuels me up correctly. Post-workout meal, which will be 100 grams of Cocoa Pops. I like to have this post-workout because we want to have like a high glycemic sort of like carbohydrate, which normally comes through cereals or pastas, bread, potatoes. But for me, I want to get that like sort of quick carb energy back in, to replenish the glycogen stores I've just diminished. I'll have 100 grams of Cocoa Pops. I'll have 300 mils of milk, and then I'll just put in 50 grams of the whey isolate, or 30 grams of the whey isolate, depending on where my protein target is roughly for that day. And that will be then just a good protein carb that can digest easy, and then also a good carbohydrate that can be really quick and digest easily, along with the glycemic of the carbohydrates will just replenish all my stores and what I've just destroyed during the training session. So, and it's just nice and easy to kind of eat straight after, because I'm never really fully hungry post-workout, so I don't want to be eating like a massive bowl of cream of rice. I'd rather get some quick, easy to digest. So with cream of rice, I tend to cook it for about 3 minutes, and you can kind of see it starting to get thickened up. Now if you keep cooking it, you get the bottom that will just stick to here, and it will just like really get thick, and you won't be able to mix it very nice. It just gets all lumpy. So you want to kind of like cook it in intervals, of around about 3 minutes, 2 minutes, until it gets really sort of thickened up. And as well with that, you can keep mixing it, so you can keep moving it all around. You're not going to get like kind of, you can see these like white sort of like protein bits. You want to get that to the point where it's like nice and smooth, and you're not going to get these like dry protein sort of chunks through the meal. And we'll just put that back in for another couple of minutes. Okay, meal 5. So next meal 5 will be around about an hour after training. So we'll have 200 grams of corn chicken, which I'm actually going to cook off because I'll make another meal because that'll be today's, with 150 grams raw weight of pasta. And then that's just a nice sort of like, after the Cocoa Pops, I will feel hungry quite quick after that. So I'll have like a more substantial meal that will be leading me into sort of my evening meal. Just because then good protein from here, really easy to digest because it's plant-based. And then the pasta, again, just really good, easy protein and carbs as well. Rather than eating like tons of rice or salad, it's just a lot easier to kind of to digest as well. And then I'll kind of salt it now in the water, just to give it some flavour. I will salt it again afterwards, just to give it a little bit more sodium as well, because there's not much sodium seasoned wise across the board. There will be sodium already intakes within like the breads and stuff like that, but with me having about 12 grams of sodium per day, I'll mainly have a lot of the salt going in my intra-workout drink, which would be some squash, maltodextrin, EAAs with a bit of salt, and then I'll have it in the last kind of 3 meals. So I'll kind of split it more like 4 grams per part from that. And then for the corn chicken, instead of using like vegetable oil for fats, I tend to get a little bit more volume, and I just have the fry light. So I just put a few sprays, and I'll weigh this out in frozen weight as well. So all carbohydrates, all of my protein sources, will always weigh them in the raw state, because once you cook it in anything like water, oil, it will start to lose its it loses water in there, so therefore it's going to weigh less when it's cooked, right? So we want to where it's raw, and especially when you use like MyFitnessPal, when you're tracking, you scan the barcodes, and it's always in the raw state. It's never going to be in its cooked weight. Okay, now it's kind of at its boiling sort of temperature. You can see the steam coming off. It's been in about twice now, so we're going to put it in for the final time for about 4 or 5 minutes, and that will fully cook through then, and then you'll see it be like nice and thick when it comes out, hopefully. That's the thing, it's different with bodybuilding. When you're a chef, you can make things that taste like all nice and stuff, but when you become like a bodybuilder, you just don't care. You just eat whatever it takes. So with this, I'll just salt, pepper it, and then just to give the corn a little bit of fucking hell. Pepper in the eye. To give it a bit of flavour, I just add some extra spicy Cajun, which always goes everywhere. I don't even know why I've got on weighing scale, we already weighed it out. So that's then ready to go. And I'll just reuse that pound for eggs for dinner. With the cream of rice, so I need space. I use a whole banana. And I'll just slice them, pretty much just nice thin slices. And they can just all go in the cream of rice. And then we would add honey to this normally, just to give it a bit of sweetness as well. And then that's that cream of rice done. Now the pasta's cooked, just drain it off. And then I will just kind of just lightly season it again, just a little bit. Just for that extra salt. And then this will kind of come out around about 300 grams, I believe, cooked weight. And that'll be meal 4. So with the potatoes, just kind of for like the evening meal, I'll use 400 grams, which will be about 2-ish for these potatoes. And then I'll just sort of cut these into like chips, so they're a little bit more like fun to eat rather than anything else. And it's just easy to digest the potatoes. Because they're a little bit more thinner, they'll cook through the air fryer just straight, and they'll just give it a bit more crispiness rather than pre-part boiling them, and then they'll become really quite, they will cook but they'll be soft in the middle, and when they air fry then it just become like mush, and it's just like, I'd rather have like chips that are a bit more crispy. So for these ones, we'll just go straight in there. We'll just put some salt, some pepper, and then I like to make them kind of like Cajun fries again, so we go back to that Cajun, wherever I put it. Sprinkle those over. Add fry light, just so they get nice little crispy skins. And then just give that a shake through, so you get all the seasoning around on all the chips rather than just all on the tops. And then we'll just go in for 20 minutes. Because we're going to fry these off, I'll tend to do them like, more like strips in a way, rather than like dicing them, because I just kind of want like long strands of onion in there rather than like fully dicing it up. So if I wanted to dice it, I would show you the chefy way, but it's just going to be just like easy strips for this occasion. A little bit more fry light so they can actually sweat off the onions. And then we'll just kind of start preparing the egg whites itself and the whole eggs. So we'll need a measuring jug, and then we have 300 grams of egg whites, just because it's pure protein without any of the fats. So then we can hit our targets, because like with the whole eggs, the actual yolk is the fats part. 2 large eggs. Also takes away that like just white anemic look. Just gives it a little bit more colour as well, a bit more flavour from the fats. So for the final meal, we'd have our egg white omelette with whole eggs. So now we've got the onions sort of like sweated off a little bit, we'll just add all of our eggs in. I'm just going to bring the heat down a little bit because I don't want to burn the bottom of the pan with the eggs in there. Whilst that's cooking, I'm going to salt. Some pepper in it, just for seasoning, and then we'll just slice a tomato, just to kind of give it a little bit more flavour in the omelette, so it's not sort of boring and bland. Now I'll just cut these into like from the half slices into kind of like just thinner little pieces, just so there's a little bit more going around the omelette. And then all I'll do is I'll just go around, kind of place them so a little bit more even around the omelette. Oh fuck my eggs! Right, they can stay in the grill now so they can get crispy. Ah, bang it, there we go. Eggs done. Right, put this other way. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's right in it. Yeah. Why am I always behind then? Doesn't actually look that much food, does it?
No. What about your shakes?
What do you mean? I don't have shakes. No, I don't just have milk and I add it into the food, don't I?
Protein shake?
No.
Why are you always in bed at night having protein shake?
But because we haven't had the food, and I've been behind on my protein, so I've had to wing it. That's all. That's the only reason why. Right, that can go off. That can go. I love how we're making all this food and we're just going to smash a pizza tonight instead.
Are you just going to reheat that?
No, I'll eat that now to be fair, because it won't take me long. I'll probably just skip on the potatoes. Oh, yes. Here we go. Crispy chips. Cool, and then this was meal 6. High protein, barely not that much fats, just nice egg white omelette, and then our crispy chips. Okay, so we're going to recap through all of our meals now. We've got to see them in front. So meal 1, which is our oats with honey and protein powder. This ends up coming out at 581 calories, 45 grams of protein, 82 grams of carbs, and 8 grams of fats. Meal number 2, which is our peri chicken fillet sandwiches with cheese and then a Skye protein yogurt, which ends up coming in at 1,218 calories, which is 91 grams of protein, 143 grams of carbs, and then 31 grams of fat. Then the next one, meal 3, is our cream of rice, which has 1 whole banana, 150 grams of cream of rice, 50 grams of our whey isolate, and then A little bit of honey in there for more sweetness. Comes in at 862 calories, 45 grams of protein, 163 grams of carbs, and 4 grams of fat. That would be our pre-training meal, which will be about an hour to 2 hours before we train. Then in our intro workout drink, which we'll have just about half an hour before training, we'll have a scoop of our pre-workout, 5 grams of creatine, 20 grams of EAAs, and then 70 grams of our maltodextrin, which is just pure carb powder, just to fuel us through the training. And it's just easy to digest as well, which comes in at, go find it, 69 just straight grams of carbs, which is 275 calories, which all just comes from our maltodextrin. Then meal number 4. So then post-workout meal, we've got our Cocoa Pops. We'll have 100 grams of Cocoa Pops with 300 grams of milk, which will be coming in at about 600 calories with 18 grams of protein and then 100 grams of carbs and then 8 grams of fat. And then, oh, I forgot the squash. Lol. So, so the squash would be in the intro, but never mind. Meal number 5, we've got our 200 grams of corn chicken and then 150 grams raw weight of pasta, which is coming in at 740 calories, 46 grams of protein, 123 grams of carbs, and then 7 grams of fat. And then meal number 6 for the evening, we've got our 2 whole eggs, 300 grams of egg whites, we've got the tomato, we've got the onion in there, and then we've got 400 grams of white potato, which comes in at 616 calories, 46 grams of protein, 72 grams of carbs, and then 16 grams of fat, which we'll just top off with a little bit of tomato ketchup on there so it's not dry. And then that is the whole total calories for the day, which then comes in with our final macros of 290 grams of protein, 750 grams of carbs, and 75 grams of fat, which comes as total calories of 4,800 calories. Boom. Okay guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. So this is the total food we'll have across the board a day as a vegetarian bodybuilder with 300 grams of protein across the board a day. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.